Welcome to a new Harry's Garage video, and this one's going to be a sort of summer garage roundup of all the things that have been going on over the last few weeks, few months, because there's been action-packed. I've been out in the Countach, we've been out in the Yaris and the Project 8 at Goodwood. The Yaris has had a suspension mods at Ian Litchfield's. Updates on the rebuilds. The Rolls-Royce is getting very tantalisingly close to being finished, and some motorbike action as well. This is a funny time of year for Harry's Garage because, as many of you will know, I have another channel that I started a couple of years ago called Harry's Farm, and we're in peak harvest mode at the moment. So July and August, I have to concentrate on the farm, and if you want to have a look at the channel, I'll put a link there. Then there's 2 videos gone up on the farm channel this week. So it's because we've got the barley harvest just completed. We're just trying to do the oilseed rape harvest, which has been a bit of a nightmare. And I've got a new sort of guidance system on the tractors. So if you want to know more about combines, tractors, how it works, how UK agriculture is working, how you do sustainable beef production, all sorts of things I cover on the Harry's Farm video channel. So it'd be great to have a look at that. But returning to the garage, what I want to kick off with is the Yaris and the Jaguar Project 8, because I was dying to try the little Yaris out on track. How is it going to perform on track? We know it's a superstar on, UKB roads and that sort of things. But what about on track? It's 4-wheel drive and it's feisty little 3-cylinder engine. So I took both of them down to Goodwood and my son Charlie, because he'd never been to Goodwood before. And I thought, well, I'll give him some lessons, some pointers on track. And you'll now discover what a hopeless passenger I am when we go out on track. Well, welcome to a new Harry's Garage video. And we're at Goodwood Race Circuit. And we're in 2 cars. I've brought the GR Yaris down. First time I've been on track on that, and then the Project 8 that knows its way around this circuit. I don't even have to get in it. But I've got my son Charlie with me. Charlie, come here.
Hello.
Yeah, you're going to have your first go around Goodwood.
Well, it was only last week I was saying how desperate I'd be to get it out on track.
And here we are. We're on track, and I've put the fear of God into Charlie because I saw it was the scariest track I know, super quick bits, and it's a bit damp out here as well. But actually, I think the GR Yaris, you're going to bloody love it.
It's going to be mega.
It's going to be huge. So, you're joining us. I'm going to give some sort of tips on Goodwood. I'm old enough to have, I think I first drove this circuit in 1985, and I've come back most years. Little guide, what to look for at Goodwood, the danger areas, and just really how to enjoy a track day at Goodwood. That's what this video is going to be about, and teaching Charlie the way around Goodwood. So, typically in the Yaris, I've got the seat sort of reclined because of the high seat, passenger seat, but that's all right. Track drying out. I can't think of a better car, to teach you.
Really?
GR Yaris, really. Manual. It's all about having the confidence and knowing where the limits are. I don't want any heroics on this first lap, and especially at Goodwood. Don't try and be the hero on the first lap. So we have a 911 GTS in front, with the hood down, and a pretty angry looking Lotus Exige behind, the Mark 1. You're on track! What did I say? Right, let's just do a lap. So, you're going to come to this corner and you're going to be braking around now into the first corner magic. No turning way too early. So you're going to keep hold in the middle of the track. Don't worry about that apex.
That one's okay.
Come out. Gotcha. Now this is the apex you worry about. It's the second apex on the way out of magic. And then you're into the scary part of the track now, Charlie. This is the bit where you really don't want to keep right to the left here. There's always water. No, carry on. Carry on. Blend to the right, just blend to the right. You carry a lot of speed. That's the full water, this strange section. Straighten it here. Aim for the red arrow. Red arrow. Don't change down. Don't carry this bit of speed around here. There you go. And now you brake for this one. So brake now into third, slower. Kiss the apex on this one. Don't add too much power, just to get to know the track, and you blend out there. You just want to drift the car out there. Now this is the tight corner on the circuit. There, slower, hit that apex, right? missed it. Blend out. No. Anyway, well, we've got a lot to learn here, because it's all good. And now you're on the back straight, and you can sort of relax, get right onto the right, straight line this, straight line it down here, and then go straight here, just kiss this apex here. You're going way too fast for your first lap. Slow down, slow. There we go. Sounded like a dad. There we turn it here, it's all visual, it's only a little squirt up the chicane. Now, slow, keep it in third, round here, now grab second. You might be able, you can almost, this would be doing it in third. That was nice through there. You've done a lap, Charlie! We survived! We've got a real challenge up ahead. Right, brake, straight line. Late, don't turn, don't aim at the apex in the middle of the track. Now aim for the next apex. It's a double apex, you don't want to change the steering. And there you go. Power out. Hopefully he's seen you. Past. Ease off. Just carry some speed in here. Clip that apex, otherwise you'll drift too wide when you're going quicker. Straight, carry on. You want to aim for that red arrow, so you can straighten that. Yeah, carry speed round here, more speed than you think. Awesome. There we go. Slow, proper slow. You're not slowing down enough for that one. We're learning, Charlie. We're not setting lap times. Slow. Kiss the apex. Turn in a bit early. Now you're starting to drift. I knew this would let it happen. just when it clears. Scrubbing a bit of speed up, knowing I can take this, go through there, I can go through there.
You can go a lot faster through there.
Yeah, I'm doing 93 through there. I know I can go over 100.
You're quite slow around.
Yeah, I wasn't concentrating, that wasn't a good lap. That wasn't a good lap.
And then you're braking at that.
And then I'm hitting, trying to bring it in there, just got the rear just swinging there, swing out there, still adding power. Well, that was a mega day at Goodwood with the two cars out on track. I sort of rough times, there's about 6 seconds between the Yaris and the Project 8 around Goodwood. The Project 8's about a 130s, 136 or thereabouts. Now, the eagle-eyed of you might notice that the Yaris looks slightly different now. And no, not the gold wheels or whatever, because a few weeks ago, this car went up to Ian Litchfield because I wanted to fit their suspension kit on it. So it's had the nitron dampers and been lowered slightly as well. Now, it's a whole lot more than that. The cost of it is about £2,500. But for that, you get these nitron dampers rather than the standard dampers, but you get a full geo setup as well, and you get adjustable spring platforms on the springs and dampers. And I noticed when I've just put this out on Instagram, lots of things, well, I thought this car was perfect. How can you improve the suspension on a perfect car? The journalists keep saying it's perfect. Well, I think you can, because I'm prepared to spend the money on the suspension on a car because I can make it as I want. I now have dampers that have 25 settings of how hard or soft I want. If the Yaris was available with adaptive dampers, I would have ticked that box. It's not. It comes with fixed dampers. Here are the standard shockers. So there's a damper, that's a rear damper, and there's a front strut there. So those I get a box of those back, and the nitron ones are an expensive damper, but they are super adjustable. And what a sort of an expensive damper does, it removes any stiction when the damper goes in and out. There's a slight bit of stiction on a standard damper. There has to be, because it's made to a price. If you pay more for dampers, you remove that stiction and it allows the damper to move ever so slightly more freer. And one of the things you do, I was hoping for, was a slight improvement in ride. I find the standard with circuit pack, I find it's a bit stiff for everyday use. It just niggles. It's livable with, but it just niggles. It could be better. And when I had this kit fitted, I asked Ian, one, to not lower it the full 40mm, but to lower it 25mm rather than 40, keep the geo the same. He's corner weighted it for an 80 kilo driver, so that's me. So all 4 corners, they're all balanced with a driver in the car. And the damper settings, so the press cars he sent out were set in around 11. I've reduced the settings to about 7 or 8, and there's a little click mechanism you do it. It's so easy to adjust. At the rear, you just have to get underneath, big knob, and you just turn it 1 click, 2 clicks, wherever you want it. And now I can have the settings I want. The ride is marginally improved. It's not transformed into a Rolls-Royce, but it is marginally improved. And you just notice when you go over speed bumps, it isn't quite the harshness. And if there's a slightly rippled surface, it disappears. It still feels stiff when there's an undulation. And interestingly, when I asked Ian about the spring rates, they're actually higher than the standard fit springs you get with a GR Yaris circuit pack. So the kit will not be for everyone. And you also have to remember, if you get a motorsport damper, there is a service life. You're meant to have the damper service. I've noticed in the Nitron booklet, I think it's every 20,000 miles or thereabouts. It's a bit like the Renault Clio that had those trick dampers on the sack dampers on the front. It's the same quality damper you get with these Nitrons, and I'm very pleased with it, and I love how easy they are to adjust. So if I go back to Silverstone, I will bump up the damper rate, and I've just got this adjustability. I could lower it to 40 mil. I like the 25, it's a compromise. I like the rally stance of it, but it could just be a bit lower, and I think this is it. I have no other modifications I'm thinking about with this car, and the results I'm really pleased with. But it's a marginal improvement in ride, but what you notice is the sharper turn in from the lower stance and the slightly more negative of the front axle. So I'm pretty pleased with it. Then another great thing that happened a few weeks ago was the London Concours, and I was invited to be the collector this year. It was a real honour, and I managed, I think it was 8 cars and 7 bikes went down into the centre of London. I'm hugely grateful to Bespoke Handling for getting the cars there. 2 trucks arrived, we loaded them up and right into the centre of London, and all this lot were down there on the lawn, looked fantastic, and it was great having the bikes there as well. I had hoped to do a video from there, and Charlie very kindly held the camera for me, wandered around, and when I got back to the editing, there was massive sound interruption and interference, and I couldn't use the video. So frustrating, because there's some great stuff there. There were hot rods there. There was a wonderful sort of V12 E-Type that had this quad cam engine in it that had been recreated for it. All sorts of stuff I really wanted to share with you, and I couldn't do it. Anyway, so London Concours, after that, we then had a celebration for the Countach, because this 2021 is 50 years of Countach. And I was invited to the Silverstone circuit by the Lamborghini Club, and there was 7 of us, I think, with Countach there, and we did a little parade around the lap with a number of others. But my goodness, just seeing in your mirror 6 other Countach, it's a spectacular sight. I mean, I still look at this car and think of its design. 50 years old. Okay, mine isn't 50 years old. This is, it was in production for quite a long time. So this is 17 years after the first Countach. It was 71 at Geneva, and then the first customer cars were about 1974. But I still look at it and think, wow, that's stunning design. It's a little bit dirty because it rained quite a lot at Silverstone, unfortunately. But the one thing, when I drive that car, it's flaky in certain areas, brakes are rubbish, there's quite a lot of gearbox noise and all sorts of things. But my God, it's got some power. It still really shoves you down the road. It's 10 seconds to 100 miles an hour, this car, back in period. And I'm absolutely sure that one is as fit and healthy and can do it again anytime you want. After that, I just want to have a look at the motorbikes, because coming up in November, there's an event called Sand Raiders, which is a sort of remake of the Dakar event out in Morocco. And I'm entered into it, and I've got to decide which bike to take, and I'm having a horribly confusing time. So recently I've been doing a bit of green laning with some friends who are also on this rally, and I thought I was going to take this Honda, this one, which is a XL 600 LM, because it's got electric start, 600cc single, but it just strikes me it's a bit heavy for a single cylinder bike. So I thought, oh, I wonder if I could cope with sort of non-kickstart bikes. So I took this little 500 out green laning, and it was ace actually. I preferred it to the electric start heavier Honda. There's about 30 kilos between the two, but it hasn't quite got the charisma of these sort of bikes. So I think I'm sort of going towards my Cagiva, because this looked after me in the dunes anyway. It has charisma by the skipful, multi-cylinder, and it's probably my favourite bike, but maybe it's this Honda Africarin's my favourite bike, sort of between these two. So yeah, real dilemmas, but it was great going Green Lane. We have some terrific areas around us. We went into Wales as well, which was also mega, mid-Wales, with a guide. It's one of them, I find the freedom, once you're on a bike with a great guide who knows the area, it's one of my favourite things to do. So anyway, big dilemmas. And there's also bespoke rallies are holding this event next March, which is to Dakar, and it leaves Brooklands in Surrey, and you end up in Dakar. And I'm steering towards taking a Honda Africa Twin Marathon edition on that one, because it's going to be a sort of with cars and bikes, and I just want to see that bike in Dakar. So that's what's going on with the bikes. Returning to the cars, obviously there's some rebuilds going on at the moment. And this week I just popped down to see the Shad, the Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow that we took to the Arctic Rolls. And that's at the Smart Repair Centre in Witney at the moment. Darren had done all that metal work the last time I did a video. That's all finished. Now it's getting ready to paint. And I dropped down there and saw George, who's a young guy, who's been doing all the body preparation on it. And he's really got into it, because he didn't realise what the car had done. He then watched the videos, and now it's sort of his favourite car. So we'll join him now in the spray booth, and he'll walk us around everything he's done on the car. Ah.
Hi, right.
Hello, George. Hi. You've been working on this, the Shad, haven't you?
Oh yeah, a few weeks now, getting on.
Well, it's a big car, isn't it? So yeah, there's plenty of bodywork to have a go at. I can't believe the journey this car's gone through. Obviously done all the metal work, and now you're doing the paint. And I dropped in recently, you were just sort of finishing.
About a week ago or so.
Yeah, it was. And it's looking so good now, because that's, when I was here, you're just doing the first bit of filler and just building out. And now it's ready to paint, isn't it? That's what its next job.
Well, ready to prime.
Ready to prime, yeah, indeed. So what have you done down here? Because I know this is a tricky corner, isn't it?
Well, down here, obviously this was absolutely stoved in.
Yeah.
It took about 3 or 4 skims to get it like this.
That's good.
Yeah, it was pretty tricky.
That's really good. I mean, that's
another hard thing is when these inside recesses here.
Yeah.
To get it, you got to get it literally perfect. Otherwise, you'll notice it when you prime it. So you got to get that right.
Well, we were almost not going to take the trim off, and I thought, this is mad. We have to build up.
There's rust through here. This isn't the best example. The best example of rust would be on this one. We're going to fill over each individual one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Apart from these bits here, they got better towards the front. Really.
I suppose, yeah, it's debris coming up here and just sitting here, isn't it? I don't know.
Must have been the worst of it when you were in the Arctic.
It was the Arctic. That was the mistake. Yeah, taken to the Arctic. That was very salty roads. And this sill was all right. So this is the good one. This is not too bad, this side, isn't it? But I can't get over it, so I just swing around that. How sharp that is. And it was awful around here. That's all new metal there, wasn't it? I think that was a new panel.
Yeah, that was a brand new panel, all the way from here. No, I think it was here.
Really?
All the way to here, with the join going through here. And you get fiberglass over the top so it doesn't rust. And then you put your layers of filler over the top to smooth that off.
And you've done this by hand, haven't you? You've sanded this
down
by
purely
hand.
by hand and touch. This is the side that had a lot more welding done to it.
Right. Oh, yeah,
this whole metal sill being put in, new one.
Yeah.
And it stops about there, and it finishes about there. So you got a lot. You got a lot there, and there's more rust here. This is quite bad for it on this side.
Was it?
And then there was the join. The join was down here.
Oh, that's right.
That's why you can see a tiny bit of fiberglass coming through there because of the rust stoppage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The bit I can never get over this car, how tight the shut lines are.
Yeah, they are. They are really tight. So you've got to make sure you get everything through there.
You're saying on the bottom of the sill, isn't it? On the bottom of the door, look at it. Well, that's Audi. That's what new Audi sort of pride themselves on shut lines. And here we are in 1970. we must be 50 years old. They did not build them well back in the day.
Metal quality of the metal's a lot better on these anyway.
Yeah, I suppose.
I mean, they only started rusting however long ago.
Well, yeah, after a trip to the Arctic. You'll just quick look at the front actually while we're here. I am slowing them up. There's a man outside ready with a spray gun, isn't he, to come in here.
He's primed and ready.
He's all ready. He said, "Have you finished?" And yeah, that looks so smart. So what have you done at the front here? What have you had to do here?
Well, at the front it wasn't that bad because it's quite all symmetrical, smooth shapes.
Yeah.
But the hardest bit about the front would be these recesses in here, because you've got to get the curve pretty much like factory setting curve, and you got to do it by hand. So at the same time, you're trying to copy something that's not there and make it up. And also, where it was welded, the joins are slightly uneven, so you've got to make sure it stays level throughout here. Otherwise, when you prime it, you're going to see a huge dip, and you don't want that.
No, I think it's going to look ace after this. I can't get over it actually. I know it's been a bit of a journey.
We bought for 4.1, didn't you?
4,200 I think I bought this. This is probably going to cost the same again, but I just think it's worth it for all the adventures it's had.
Yes,
but,
well, it's definitely got some story behind it now.
Yeah, it might have another one. Oh yes, yes. Yeah, the Arctic sticker. I put on crooked, it really winds me up.
Yeah,
but,
you've got the moose here as well.
Yeah, I've got a moose. Yeah, I've got a pack of moose
I've heard you
stickers.
want to save that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like my mooses. No, it was a hell of an adventure, it really was. I was very glad I was in the car. My dear wife complained bitterly because it was at -30 getting out of the car and filming.
Don't blame
it was a bit tricky. Anyway, George, that's fantastic. And yeah.
No worries.
In a few more days, so it gets primed. Do you have to rub it down again?
After you rub it down, after you rub the primer down, with a 500 soft, you want to then scotch all the remaining bits that you haven't, obviously, that are underneath that are already shiny. Everything you see here has been roughed up, so then the primer's going to stick to it.
Yeah.
But what you want to do is just smooth it all down, guide coat it as well, and make sure there's nothing that you haven't missed. Hopefully I haven't missed anything, but obviously the boys will.
Yeah. You're on holiday, aren't you? You're going to miss it.
Yeah, I'll be on holiday.
What a go. Well, will it take more than a week, or will it be? I think it'll be out next week.
Yeah, I think it could be, to be honest.
Yeah.
See how busy we are, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
We have been quite busy considering the times, actually.
Fantastic. I'm really chuffed with it, and it's the final bit, it's like the icing on the cake about to go on it.
Yeah.
Terrific. Thank you. It was great to see the enthusiasm of Jules towards the Arctic Rolls, but of course it's not the only car in rebuild at the moment. We've got the XJC down at Painting Classic Cars, and I spoke to Keith Parrington just to see how he was getting on. And we're just still waiting for the final bits of wiring loom to arrive there, and he can't yet put the engine back in the car. We are hoping by the end of this week they might arrive. We are being sort of promised them to arrive and the engine back in, but he's just been doing some of the extra work. There's some fiddly bits, brake servos, sort of heat shield gone in the engine bay. I've had all the interior has come back as well. We're having some of the panels covered in black leather where they were black plastic before, and the headline is in. So not uber exciting things happening, but I can't wait to the next stage. In the next couple of weeks, that should really motor on that car. And finally, the little Lancia Zagato, there was that shock video that went out when we took the paint off and discovered what was underneath. And everybody was writing comments, oh, you should have chucked it in the bin, etc. You do not realise the skill of Sam and Adrian in that body shop. I have been amazed of what they've done to the metal and made some of the panels up already, and not many hours work to do it, just to achieve it. They are incredibly experienced, and I hope to see it next week. I'll drop in a video now. You can just see how he's formed a sort of wing out of just a sheet of metal, perfectly shaped, and they replaced some panels on the roof as well. And by the end of next week, it should all be done. It's just amazing work they're doing down there. I really hope to see it next week. The trouble I've got is with the farm, we're still in harvest, and I'm not sure if I can get all the way down to Brands Hatch and back and get the combining done. So we'll see if we can. But there you go, there's a roundup of all the things that's happening in Harry's Garage at the moment. As I say, please have a check out the Harry's Farm channel as well. Seems to be very well received. He actually has higher likes ratio than the Harry's Garage channel. Gets about 400,000 or 500,000 views a month or thereabouts. So seems to be enjoyed by some. But if you like Harry's Garage, well, by the end of next week, we should have another video and should be a road test as well. So I hope you enjoy this video, this roundup. If you have, keep watching, keep subscribing. More videos coming along very soon.